Yes. Hi. How are you doing? Oh, Florida, sweet Florida. Man. So I know that we were we planned on talking about other things, but I feel like that needs to be something that we talk about first and foremost. What are your thoughts on Florida, on the state of the nation? Yeah.
The thoughts and prayers are fine and good, but I hope that people will take action as well.
Yeah. Yeah, man. I totally agree. And this is a movie that I'm coming out with about dreaming. I think that you and I are both, we've talked about our dreams for many years. Um, and that, I think that dreams actually happen. You know, the Wright brothers dreamed of flying, and now we travel all the time in aircraft. Uh, you dream about starting an organization to help people, and now, years later, a decade later, you can see the fruit of that. And I think you're absolutely right. Um, the dreams that we have today can become reality tomorrow. We can actually, it's not just something that we have to just passively sit by and accept as reality.
Yeah, I know it's a tough transition, right? To go from what happened yesterday to just about anything,
Yeah.
But I do think that that it's like we want people to feel safe enough to dream. We want people to grow up in a world and in schools where they feel the freedom to dream in any way, and so I love that. We've talked about it. I talked to you leading up to 25 and 24 taking place. I've had the privilege of seeing the film. I'm so excited about the tour and that we get to be a part of it. When I say we, I mean to write Love on Our Arms. But I know that your hope is not to just show off your dream that you got to live out, but to invite people to think about their dream as well. And maybe there's a question in there. um,
No,
what is your hope
absolutely,
as
like,
you chose to document this incredible 24 hours and turned it into this beautiful film to capture it. And I wonder what you're feeling, what you're excited about, and what your hopes are.
yeah. No, I the playing 25 shows in 24 hours is a ridiculous, some would say dumb idea. And I think my goal for this movie, I have two main goals. Um, I want to I want to awaken those dreams that we all have that are dormant. Whether it's someday I want to go to China, someday I want to learn, Spanish or whatever it is. We all have these absurd, ridiculous dreams that other people might laugh at, that are a part of us. And I want this film to kind of kindle those fires and to see people awaken those dreams. And the other thing that I want for this film to do is to bring people together. I think community is something that's rare. And I I think the online community that we have is certainly it is what it is, but it's for me personally, it's not the same thing as people coming together in person to actually be in the same room. And so with the film, I'm hoping that we're doing these house parties. So my hope, my crazy dream with this film is that people would come together in these house parties, and that it would awaken people to begin to talk about their dreams with their friends. And if this film can make even one person kind of say, you know what, that's it, I'm going to do it. I'm going to quit smoking. I'm going to climb Everest. I'm going to, learn Latin, whatever it is. I want to see that happen. And that's the whole goal for this film. I have no monetary goals, nothing like that. It's going to lose a lot of money, and it's just going to hope to awaken people's dreams.
Yeah. That's awesome, man. That's so good. Has it been like, whether it was people who got to attend, people who physically showed up in the 24 hours that this took place, or people that have already gotten to see the film, have you already started to hear some of those stories? And I wonder what has some of that meant to you?
Yeah. So when I played 25 shows in 24 hours, there was a guy there who flew in from Australia, I believe. He might be watching now. But at the very end of it, I had a chance to talk to him, and he gave me this incredible quote, that actually begins the whole movie. And it kind of, at the time I was super tired and delirious, and I just went home and took a nap, but it stayed with me afterwards, thinking through the concept that everything that we see, that we look around us, this at one point, this iPhone 4, it was a dream in someone's mind that it didn't exist, and someone willed it into existence with some effort, some ingenuity, standing on the shoulders of other ideas. And the idea being, our entire human space is constructed by dreams. That's where we live. We live in skyscrapers, and we, go on trains that go underwater, and we have our hair cut by Flobies, and incredible inventions. And the concept being, now these dreams seem static, and they seem like they're a part of our world. They're architecture that we are now walking through. But sometimes that can feel very limiting, and it can feel like you don't have a voice, you don't have a say, and so when he gave me that quote, beware of those who dream by day, for their dreams may become a reality, I thought to myself, okay, so that was kind of the spark for this whole thing. And he told me that certain songs of ours had inspired him to change. And I think change is an incredible thing. The idea that the human heart can change, that something that was wrong, something that wasn't quite operating to the fullest, can actually change. That's kind of the goal for this whole thing. And I know we've seen it with music. I'm sure your organization has seen it with interactions and conversations. But yeah, the event itself, it felt like it was the beginning of that kind of a spark. But I didn't get to have too many conversations about that with people, because we were like, okay, we got 14 more shows to go. Let's go. But yeah, I had a couple of those conversations along the way. Absolutely.
Yeah. I had a thought, because I took some time a few days ago to film some stuff, and for 25 and 24, and a couple thoughts. One was that you needed people to help you pull the dream off. Yeah. So it was your dream, but you needed help. And then you also simply invited people to participate in it. And so, and maybe in a simple way, 25 and 24 would not have been as cool if it was just you playing music to no one in 25 different places around the city.
That would have been almost, that's what you call just meditation or life or something, right?
Yeah. And so I love that aspect of it, that and you weren't even sure if it was possible. You weren't sure if you would fail or not, but I love those aspects. So in my mind, like, I love inviting people to think about their dream, but with that, who are the people that you need to ask for help, and who are the people that you are simply going to invite? And I don't know, those were things that stood out as I watched the film.
That is huge. That's a great concept, because I'm thinking back in my mind to like seasons that we've been through, wonderful, incredible seasons, dark seasons of change, transition, and it's just as we're talking about dreams and the reality of the world we live in. The fact is that we need each other. Like, friendship is essential for humans to actually live life. The first thing that happens, we're both surfers. I'm thinking, like, it's an incredible feeling to ride a wave, but it's so much better when your buddy's watching, or when you're watching your buddy. You know, it's this feeling of like this shared experience. And I think music is that for me. I spend so much time writing songs by myself, but the first thing that I do when I complete the songs, I want to share it with somebody, you know. And I think that's kind of what this film is for me, is, okay, how can I bottle up the experience of playing 25 shows in 24 hours? How can I give that experience to someone else and hope that it empowers them to actually go out and chase their ridiculous dream?
Yeah. Oh, that's so good, man. I'm so excited for people to see this film, and I love the idea that people will physically sit together and not just watch it together, but then to think about the conversations that will hopefully be started in those settings.
Yeah. So for a lot of the people that might not know what To Write Love on Her Arms is, probably most people that are watching know, but can you tell me a little bit about that journey and that dream?
Yeah. So you and I have been friends since before To Write Love on Her Arms was a thing. And I grew up a surfer. I grew up in the surf industry. I was lucky enough to become the sales rep for Hurley, clothing brand, longtime sponsor of the Bro-Am. And that was a dream come true for me. And my life changed in 2006. I was introduced to a friend named Renee, who was struggling with drug addiction, depression, self-injury. She had attempted suicide. And I wrote a story about getting to know Renee. And To Write Love on Her Arms was the name of that story. I had the idea to print and sell some t-shirts back in 2006 as a way to help pay for Renee to go get the help she needed, for Renee to be in treatment. And the first human being to wear one of these t-shirts was a guy named Jon Foreman. So that is a
you're
really
assuming
special,
I'm human at that point, but
really special part of our story. And then basically from then on, especially right away, we learned that so many people could relate to Renee's story, and that so many people were affected by the issues that she struggled with. And essentially this story kind of accidentally gave people permission to share their story, to share the story of someone they lost, to share the story of someone they were concerned about, to realize that maybe other people were living in similar circumstances, and maybe more than anything, to realize that it was okay to ask for help. And obviously my life changed a lot, thankfully, over time. I've been able to build a team. We became an official, legitimate nonprofit organization. And now every single day, for almost a dozen years, we've been able to invite people into this conversation. And it's a lot of those broad stroke ideas. And then it's also giving money to professional help, investing in treatment and counseling, and just continuing to let people know that they're made to have a support system. They're made to live in community. And in the same way that we go to a mechanic when our car is giving us trouble, it's okay to talk to a mental health professional when you're dealing with depression or anxiety. It's okay to put a hand up when you're dealing with addiction or an eating disorder or thoughts of suicide, that there are people who want to have these conversations and people qualified to help in these unique ways.
Yeah. And tell me about Heavy and Light.
Heavy and Light is my favorite night of the year. It seems like we've settled into a reality where you are always a part of that night, and I don't take that for granted. So Heavy and Light is our flagship event for the organization. It began as our annual event at the House of Blues in Orlando. It is a night of music, but beyond the music, there is spoken word poetry. There are speakers. I like for that night to maybe exist at the intersection of where pain meets hope. And I try to invite all the artists, all the speakers to think about that. And it's basically 3 hours of those things, of songs and stories and hope. Everyone in the room leaves with a list of resources. So the hope is not to just inspire or encourage people, but the hope is that people end up sitting with a counselor or stepping into treatment or sending a text to crisis text line. And we've heard amazing stories of lives changing, of people even choosing to stay alive as a result of attending this show. One year we won $1 million and we got to take Heavy and Light on the road. We didn't just bring you, we brought Fiction Family. We actually brought your whole family.
My fictional and my real family.
But I love that it continues to live on, and we're going to do that Saturday, March 10th at the House of Blues. You'll be back. Yeah. Dustin Kensrue from Thrice, Propaganda, our poet friend, Tanya Ingram, who's incredible, and a little super group called Nico Cat, which is members of the Ready Set and Jess Bowen, who a lot of people may know as the drummer of the Summer Set.
That is going to be such a good night.
I know, man. I'm so glad we don't have to do it without you.
Come on. So good.
Side note, I love that because somebody gave you beef. Somebody took issue when you revealed the 25 and 24 dates.
Yes.
And there was no Florida. And
yes.
I love that Heavy and Light is the closest we come to a solution to that problem.
Yes. Come dream with us, right? Just a different
yeah.
dream. I love that, the intersection of pain and hope. And I think that that's poetry, music, all the things that move me deeply usually live right there in the tension, you know. And I think there's so many ways to run away from that because it's an awkward, uncomfortable place to exist, is in the tension. But music for me has been that place where it allows me to enunciate both the pain and the hope and feel like I am human, I am alive, I'm okay with both of them in the same state. Because it's almost like living in, you know, in between tomorrow and yesterday. It's all of our lives are in this tension. It feels sometimes like it can feel like it's unbearable, but music and poetry and nights like this feel like they give us words and scaffolding to be able to exist in that spot. So thank you for having me back year after year.
Oh man, absolutely. We love it. You know, personally, as a fan, just as a human, I look forward to it and to get to share it with, you know, our staff, our interns, our friends, on so many levels. It's just a night that means a lot to me.
Love it. And also, you guys are helping present the 25 and 24 tour.
Yeah, which is so excited
epic.
About that.
Yeah, so essentially that's going to be us going on the road. I think we're hitting like 16 different cities across the U.S. And you guys are coming out there, and we're going to have information every night. And and I'm excited. So if we're not going to your city, a lot of people are bummed that we're not going to like Holland or Texas or different places.
The city of Holland.
The city of Holland is a beautiful city this time of year. I'm sure there's a Holland, Texas as well.
There for sure, yeah.
Then the house party, you can be a part of that. But it's an exciting season, and I'm so excited to be partnering up with you and to write Love in Our Arms during this time.
Oh yeah, man. I love, in a way, our involvement is really simple too. I feel like we get to ask people to think about their dream. You know, we get to kind of put simple words to, I think, so much of the heart behind this film and probably this tour. And I think so much, maybe everything that you do as an artist is that it's not just, hey, let's show up and check out Jon's dream, but that you want to send people home thinking about their story and you know, their dream and what they want to create. And I even love the question, man, what would you do if you could do anything? Because I feel like in a way this film is your answer to that question. What would you create if you could create anything? And I, you know, I get excited thinking about the ideas and the conversations that people are going to have. And I have one quick thought. There's two guys from San Diego, both of which I believe you know. One is Bob Goff, and one is Jason Russell, who was one of the co-founders of Invisible Children. And I've spent a little bit of time around these guys, and I noticed that Bob Goff loves to ask people not what do you do, but what do you want? And Jason Russell loves to ask people, what's your dream? So I think we live in a world that asks, what do you do?
Yeah.
Where do you live? We kind of play it safe with these questions. And it really stuck with me because this was years ago that I realized it. But those are two San Diego guys that I felt like were asking better questions.
Huh.
Because I feel like you really get the chance to learn about someone. Not hey, where do you work? Because they may or may not like that. That may or may not be part of who they are.
Yeah.
But if you ask someone, what do you want and what's your dream, you get to see so much more, you know. And I feel like this film and this tour and the house parties are going to ask people those questions. And what's your dream? I get excited.
I love it. Yes, man. It's kind of that is the idea. What's your Willy Wonka crazy world? What's that thing that you would chase if you had money was not an issue, time was not an issue? What would you do with your life?
I got a question for you if there's time.
Yeah, hit me, man.
How I think a lot of people watching, they see you as someone they look up to, someone successful, someone they really respect, who's had a lot of things go well. And I wonder, as you began to think about this dream and map it out, how did you navigate doubts and fears? And is this even worth it? Is this a dumb idea?
Yeah.
Like, I wonder, how did you navigate some of those hard parts?
Well, those are absolutely, those questions never go away. Even this morning, talking to my wife, I was like telling her about all this and this film and all of it. I keep having to go back to why am I doing it? And so it really is a kind of a lesson in the film becomes the real life becomes a film.
Yeah.
And the reason why I'm doing it is because I genuinely think that this film could be, it's not gonna, like, for example, you put it up against like Spider-Man or Lord of the Rings. It's not, we have millions of dollars less money that we invested in this. But I genuinely think that this film could be that film for someone that could be like, 10 years from now, somebody could come up to me and say, hey, I watched that film and that was the day I decided to do this crazy thing that was life-changing. And that keeps coming up because there are so many reasons why it's a bad idea. This film and the Wonderlands in general and all these solo things. I have a day job of making music with Switchfoot. Why in the world would I spend more time making music? And these weird things that are in odd time signatures that very few people care about, but they're in me that I want to get out,
Yeah.
And I come back to the idea that I do them because I love them. I'm driven by joy. And for me, there are absolutely so many reasons why it's a bad idea. I'm a father, I'm a husband, I'm trying to be a good friend to my community, and the music all takes it out of you in a different way. So many late nights in the studio where I'm not being there for my wife or my daughter or whatever, where it's like okay, so I have to wrestle with that tension. Every time I go on the road, I have to question, okay, what is this worth? Why am I doing it? And so I think all of the doubts and questions that we have are going to look different. But I genuinely think that in the struggle and in the answers that we're looking for and the big questions that we're asking, that's kind of where that's what revives my soul. The moment I just kind of cash out and just say, yeah, I'm good. I think that the lack of tension would be a problem. I think, for example, we've got like the best illustration I've ever seen is a guitar where we hate tension, but tension is from this end over to here. You have like this guitar string that's just stretched so tight, but the only way that it can play is when it's pulled, and I think that the tension isn't the problem, it's the notes you play with the tension. So that's kind of been the thing that keeps me going, even when a lot of people or voices in my head are saying it's a bad idea.
Yeah, it's so good, man.
Yeah, and the other thing is, I think, monetarily, we're driven by all these things, like outside external factors. Is it going to win a Grammy? Is it going to sell a lot of records? Is it going to help you pay rent? Those are things that the answer for most dreams is no. The answer for most dreams is no. It's a bad idea, monetarily, functionally speaking. But is it going to make you a bigger person? Is it going to enlarge the size of your heart? That might be worth it. Even to lose money and enlarge your heart, I think you win.
Yeah. And I think, too, just the idea that as people, we're made to connect with other people. And that was so much a part of 25 and 24,
Yeah.
That you wanted to share each of those stops, each of those shows within the day. Again, you didn't do them alone. You wanted, and there was no money exchanged. It wasn't like a business thing, but like and I love that it was born out of the after show, which is, again, is just like you wanting to connect. Obviously, the fact that you love music and you love sharing music, but wanting to connect with other people. And I feel like that's something that's so powerful is it's easy to get lost in careers and finances and deadlines and busyness, and it's like I think there was a part of you that wanted to see if you could pull this thing off. But I love that so much of it is rooted in, hey, I'm a person made to connect with other people, and music is a medium for that.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that could be a good determining factor along the way for me, is like, why am I doing it? If it, like, I've 3 goals. I've narrowed it down to, like, my goals in life are, I want to be a good husband, I want to be a good dad, and I want to receive and reflect the light and love that I've been given by my maker. And so and that third one is kind of a trick one, because it's 2 things in one, to receive and reflect, and I think that's at the heart of it, to be able to say, no, I am loved, and to love other people. That feels like that doesn't make money. That doesn't necessarily, it's not efficient, but I think that's at the crux of what we're born to do, So that's, hopefully this film is an outpouring of that.
Totally. I love that, man. I mean, I love thinking about, again, just these house parties where, hopefully people might leave with a new friend, or they might leave having reconnected with a friend, or just feeling less alone, which is such a miracle. Those moments we get to feel that way, or the nights that people are going to come, on tour and watch this film together and take in the concert as well. Like I get excited thinking about all that.
I love it. Well, thank you for years of friendship.
Oh, likewise,
all the
man.
way from the East Coast to the West Coast.
Florida contingent.
Thank you for years of letting me borrow your surfboard.
I think that's a two-way street. Oh man, I'm honored to be your friend. Honored that I got to watch this film a few days early, and I'm so excited that we get to be a part of the tour. And yeah, like I feel like you say it to me, and I'm in.
I'm in.
Whatever you got, the answer is probably yes.
Awesome, man. Well, I look forward to seeing you in a few weeks.
Yeah, I'm into that. I'm all for it.
And maybe we'll get some waves.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. Well, thank you to everyone else who's been watching, and thank you, Jamie, for your time. It's always good to chat with you.
Of course, man. I love you. Have a good night.
Love you too. Have a good night.
All right.
All right. Peace.
See ya. Did you hear it?
Okay.